Mic check 1 2. 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 Man, this is your boy, the old ball coach from our beautiful PHFL studios right outside of Washington, D.C., bringing you another fantastic episode of This Week in the PHFL. Man, we got a jam-packed show today, so again, man, let's dive into it. We're going to go through we got the Bills and the Chiefs. Is that an AFC championship preview? I mean, the Chiefs, they were definitely demolished in this game, and we'll go through the stats. We'll take a look at our Power 5 or our Power 8, rather, PHFL Power Rankings. We'll go through and have a couple of questions that came from the PHFL fans. So we'll go through and we have a couple of segments. We have our Super Bowl odds. So we'll go through and look at the top 6 teams in the PHFL. What are their realistic Super Bowl odds? What is Vegas saying right now? Who are the ultimate right now favorites in the PHFL? And then we have a couple of segments. What is the best front four in the PHFL? We'll take a look at a couple of front fours, or really the front four right now that, at least on paper, is the number one front four in the PHFL. Not necessarily statistically, but at least from a talent perspective, these guys here are definitely head and shoulders above the others. Again, we have a couple of segments. We have a couple of highlights that we wanted to definitely make sure that we discuss in the PHFL video segment as far as highlights is concerned. And we definitely have one that came in from our fans. So one of our PHFL fans sent in a video of a fantastic play. So we want to make sure that we tap into that and definitely give the fans some recognition regarding that particular play. And again, it was definitely an awesome play. So without further ado, let's really get into the highlights again. We have a couple that we want to definitely talk about. The first one, again, this is the Eagles versus the Commanders.
First
Again,
down throwing for
let's set the stage of that, and let's again just kind of take a look at right now the Eagles. Again, the game was 7-0. And again, the Commanders are one of the teams right now that, when we really go through and look at it, really from a talent perspective, they definitely have a lot of talent. specifically on the offensive end. However, they definitely have been struggling on the defense. Again, they have the Commanders. Again, they are a very tricky team on offense or defense rather, and they're going against again Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. So again, let's take a look at this play. Give me a second here. We literally just got something in from our fans, so we want to make sure that we got to take a look at that, and we want to take a look at that play. So again, looking at it, Jalen Hurts again. Jalen Hurts is definitely a mobile quarterback, of course. And again, looking outside the pocket, again, I don't know. And again, maybe it's just me. Some of these quarterbacks with these 85, 86 speed, they are able to get outside of the pocket. And again, maybe I digress, but some of the quarterbacks with 91, 92 speed literally can never get outside the pocket. But again, Jalen Hurts gets outside the pocket. I mean, again, you can see he's close to that line of scrimmage. You see why is getting wide open. Throws a dime to Saquon Barkley for the touchdown. Runs it in for the Philadelphia touchdown to win this game, and the Commanders dropped to 4-6 on the season. Now, everybody again. Let's slow down this play. Everybody knows with this play with Coach Shump in the Carolina Panthers, that for the most part, when they line up in this formation, this is going to be that kind of angle route play that honestly, we got to give credit to Coach Rail. He was one of the first ones that I've actually seen run this play maybe 2 Maddens ago, if I'm not mistaken. So again, we definitely want to, pay homage. But again, once you see Coach Shump in this formation, especially if he's winning. He never throws this route if he's losing. If he's winning, he throws everything out the window and tries everything. But again, this is definitely a great route. So again, look at they kind of run it at an angle. And again, it's a good play. You can't knock it. It's definitely a good play. Young steps back to pass. Great pass lead. He clicked on. He's right there, but that's a dot. I mean, you can't throw a better pass than that. Again, just kind of look at the trajectory on the pass. Again, the DB is right there. He definitely was in a trail technique. And again, when he went back and bailed, again, that he's right there, and then he stopped. So right now, it looks like that was a cover 2, and that safety needed to be a little bit more over to the sidelines. Again, great pass by Coach Shump, and the Ravens now, or the Panthers, move to 9-1 on the season. This literally just came in 2 minutes ago from our fans' perspective. So let me get the play right. So again, literally, our fans, they watch it. This came in from the Ravens. We got to give credit. Again, this came in. We want to thank, Too Short Tim for sending this in to our PHFL fan mail. This is probably one of the best interceptions that you will see. Again, Joe Burrow, he's hot. He's lit up. He steps back in the pocket. Again, you got to tip your hat for this one. Again, this literally just came in 5 minutes ago. So we definitely want to thank our fans for sending this in. Look at this interception. I mean, you can't get better than that. Let's take a look at it again. I mean, a one-handed right interception. Okay, let me pause it there. You got to be kidding me. Again, clicked on it. You definitely have to click on it. Went up with one hand, caught the interception. Again, great play by the Baltimore Ravens defense. Again, good spin move, good juke move. Again, didn't take it all the way to the house, but again, our fans, they definitely support the PHFL, and again, great play by the Ravens. Again, this is a microcosm of the the Denver Broncos season. And again, you got to tip your hat to Coach BG. Again, reading his keys, paying attention to kind of the tendencies of the Broncos. Again, this is a relatively with 17-3. So again, maybe you can go in and looking at it right now. Again, maybe throwing it to the flat, but everybody knows he's paying attention to that flat route. Literally peeled back,
soon as he saw that the motion and he saw that running back coming across, snatches it out of the air. Again, gets tackled, but again, this is so far a microcosm of the Broncos season. Again, great way to kind of use your eyes, as far as the Falcons are concerned with Phillips the third. Again, he paused. Again, when you got to pay attention to the user. Most users are going to cover that middle of the field. And again, the Broncos go on to get demolished 44-10. So again, a couple of highlights from our PHFL week number 10. Definitely thank the Ravens fans for sending in, their nomination for PHFL play of the week. So again, make sure if you got any video clips, send it to me via Discord, and we can definitely make sure we get that on the highlight show. Next up is our PHFL Power 5. That's what everybody, or Power 8 rather, that's where everybody kind of looks at. And right now, the New York Jets are the number one team in the PHFL, followed by the Green Bay Packers are number 2. The Buffalo Bills, after their manhandling of the Kansas City Chiefs, moves all the way up to number 3. The Los Angeles Chargers are number 4. The Carolina Panthers are number 5. The Atlanta Falcons 6. The Dallas Cowboys 7. And the Detroit Lions are 8th. Actually, that dropout should have been the Kansas City Chiefs, who actually were knocked out of the PHFL top 8 based off of that. Again, that was Coach Twitch. Again, he is a coach again that I think he's going to get his team definitely fired up for that game. But again, this was something that the entire league was looking at. And again, the Chiefs, again, we have that updated. The Chiefs in real time. Again, thanks to our PHFO studios and the guys working in the back, the Chiefs dropped out of the Power 8. And again, number 10, the coaching hot seat. The Broncos have some defensive talent. So why are they currently 5-6? They haven't won a division game thus far. So again, we definitely have to start asking questions with some of these coaches. And we did, catch with the old ball coach previously. And, he pretty much said, hey, listen, if they decide to make a coaching change, he said, good. You know what? He's sick of Denver. He doesn't even like, the Nuggets, can't stand the Colorado Rockies. The air up here stinks. It's just not a great place to live. Denver and I don't even know another city in Denver. I don't think Denver likes Denver. So again, we have to definitely, start to take a look at this team, because maybe they're just giving up on the coach and they're not really playing for the coach. They have a game against the Raiders who's upcoming, who's already knocked them off earlier in the week. So we'll see. But again, if they don't string together a couple of victories, then we could be looking at a change in Denver, with them currently being at 5-6. So again, that's your PHFL Power Rankings, week number 11. So again, this is going to be a fluid. I think there has literally been a change in the power ranking for probably the last, I want to say maybe 4 weeks. It's been something consistent. And this week, we got a huge game that we'll talk about with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Carolina Panthers in our PHFL game of the week. This is something that came in from our PHFL fan mail. Who is or what is the best front four in the PHFL? So we had our crack staff kind of go through, not necessarily from a statistical perspective, but just maybe from a talent perspective. And I think right now, probably without, any type of debate, the best, front four in the PHFL right now is your New York Football Giants. Abdul Carter is a superstar. You have Dexter Lawrence, who is an X factor. You have Brian Burns is a superstar, and you have Thibodeau, who's a star. So, again, that's a lot of talent, in that front four. So I think, again, that's something that, we need to look at, going forward to, really, man, is it, what is going on with the New York Giants? I know right now, again, they just, strung a couple of victories, in their last couple of weeks. But again, they should be a lot better than what they are, especially with the talent that they have, in the front four. So again, right now, just looking at all of the front fours in the PHFL, I think, again, it's probably not a stretch that the New York Giants right now have the best front four in the PHFL. Again, not from a statistic perspective, but just more from a just from a talent perspective. And definitely shout out to Coach Twitch, who says #underdogs, and Mike got a win that's in the chat. Shout out. He even agreed that the Giants have the best front four in the PHFL. Another one that came from our PHFL fan mail was, will the Green Bay Packers go undefeated, and what are their chances? So, again, our staff, we went through and just take a look at it. So, right now, the Packers, are 10-0. So, where the Packers go undefeated? They're 10-0. They have 4 tough games remaining. And what are their chances of going undefeated? Right now, Vegas has it at 65%. You got San Francisco with Coach Senna, and again, that's a team that's can put up, definitely some points. You got the uber talented Miami Dolphins with all their speed. I think probably what's going to be their Achilles heel, or where they may fail, is going to be that game in Detroit. I think right now, again, Detroit, they also have a game at Minnesota that we wasn't able to get on here, but they have Minnesota as well. But I think their first loss is going to come with Detroit. I think that Coach Deasy is definitely going to put a game plan together. He's going to come out with again, maybe a different set of focus. He's going to eliminate some of the mistakes that were made in the first game. And he's going to come out and I think, again, they will go into that Detroit game undefeated. But I think the Lions and probably the Vikings is where the Packers are probably going to stub their toe. Again, we'll take a look at this, as the season progresses. But right now, again, they're 10-0. And Vegas gives them a 65% chance to go undefeated. And right now, they're the only undefeated team in the PHFL. One of the coaches, again, shout out to Coach BG, he asked, what are the Super Bowl odds? Who are the Super Bowl favorites in the PHFL? So then I said, you know what? Let's get a staff together and let's talk about right now who are the favorites. And again, you may look at this and like, wait a minute. Again, you got to look at this and say, wait a minute, let's have a conversation. So right now, the Vegas has the team right now with the best Super Bowl odds is your Buffalo Bills. Right now, the Buffalo Bills are the favorites to win the PHFL Bowl at 2-1. They have an impressive victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. They have an impressive victory over the New York Jets. Again, when you're able to knock off probably one of the or two of the heavyweights in the AFC, then you definitely have to put them at the top of the list as far as PHFL Super Bowl odds at 2-1. Coming in at 4-1 is your New York Jets. Again, the Jets only have one loss. They do have a chance to get their revenge against the Buffalo Bills later on in the season. But right now, they're coming in, and it looks like Vegas is saying the winner of the AFC is going to be the PHFL champion this season. Again, we're not 100% sure. However, again, the New York Jets are coming in at second. In the NFC, they kind of predicted that the NFC goes through Green Bay. All roads go through Green Bay. They're coming in at 5-1, and they're number 3 in our Super Bowl PHFL odds. Again, the Packers right now are 10-0, thoroughly destroyed the Detroit Lions. Again, there's a rematch upcoming, and I think, again, if they knock off the Lions again for a second time, then I think that's honestly going to be in Coach DZ's head, that he's probably like, man, he just can't beat this kid. So again, if that happens, then you definitely have to look at it and say, you know what, he just can't beat this guy. So the again, the Packers are coming in at number 2. Mike got a win, and the LA Chargers are coming in at number 4 at 10-1. Again, that's going to be a tough ask, to be able to go through the gauntlet, which is the AFC. But again, he's 9-1. Again, his only loss is to the Kansas City Chiefs. So again, you definitely have to tip your hat and say, listen, one loss, to a division foe, he definitely has to be in consideration and definitely within that top 6 for PHFL bowl odds. Coming in at number 5, again, the Kansas City Chiefs. The betting odds have not given up on the Chiefs yet. Again, the loss to the Raiders, again, that wasn't concerning. Again, just too many turnovers. They were able to fight back, but again, it was just too many turnovers. However, their loss to the Buffalo Bills was something that definitely is a concern. But again, Vegas still hasn't given up on the Chiefs, and they're definitely one of the favorites. And then coming in as maybe a surprise is your Carolina Panthers at 20-1. Again, only one loss, and that one loss again was to the LA Chargers. They have a big game coming up against the Kansas City Chiefs, but the Carolina Panthers are coming in at 20-1 PHFL bowl odds in this season. So again, this definitely could change and will change as we get further along into the season. And again, we'll definitely update these odds as we go along, factoring in injuries and factoring in, other factors that may go into the odds that Vegas is putting out. And speaking of the aforementioned Carolina Panthers, they have a big game coming up this week with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think Vegas has it as a relatively close game. I think Coach Twitch is going to come out, and this is going to be a focused Coach Twitch. And I think Coach Deasy in the chat said 13.5. I tend to agree with him. I just don't know whether or not if the Panthers, again, they're going to have to muck it up. They're going to have to make this game ugly. They're going to have to, again, control the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to control the clock and, again, limit the possessions of the Kansas City Chiefs. I just don't know whether or not they're going to have enough to be able to slow down Patty Mahomes, especially after what we saw against Buffalo. This is going to be a game where the Chiefs are going to come out, firing on all cylinders. And I think it may be just a tad bit too much for the Panthers to overcome. Again, they've been a great story. You definitely have to tip your hat. They're in the top 6 in the PHFL and PHFL bowl odds. But again, this may be, and I'm looking at, again, some of the PHFL Twitter. Somebody got Panthers plus 20. We got, again, Twitch 13.5. There's some bets. Again, this is going to be a game where I just don't feel like the Panthers have enough to be able to stop Patty Mahomes. Again, I think they're going to be able to keep it close, relatively early. But I think as the game progresses, I think that the Chiefs' talent is going to prevail, and they're going to come out ultimately with the victory. Again, they have it 31-27. Again, that's the way Vegas looks at it, again, to try to manipulate the lines. If I had to probably put a score on it, I'm probably going to say Kansas City 34, Carolina maybe 20. Again, looking at the rankings, again, offensively, Kansas City is 4th. The Panthers are 21st. Defensively, Panthers are top 10. They're actually ranked at 10. And number 21 for the Chiefs. The Chiefs have the number 2 scoring offense, where Carolina has the 4th ranked offense. Scoring defense, the Panthers are 6th. The Chiefs are 20th in sacks. The Chiefs are 26th, and the Panthers are 10. And then first down, third down conversion, both teams definitely move the ball. Both teams definitely keep the sticks, keep the chains moving, and with the Chiefs being 2nd and the Panthers being 6th. Again, 8-2 Kansas City versus the Carolina Panthers at 9-1, our PHFL game of the week.
Again, looking at now some of the week 11 action in the books. Again, the Falcons destroyed the Broncos 44-10. The Commanders, or the Eagles, knocked off the Commanders. The Chargers moved to 9-1, knocking off the Bengals 69-20. I believe there may have been an injury in that game to Justin Herbert, I believe. Yep, so Trey Lance is in the game. Justin Herbert went out with an injury. Let's see if there has been an injury update with Herbert. We don't see anything here. So we'll keep our eyes on that to see whether or not Herbert will be available for the Chargers upcoming games. Again, that will be definitely a devastating injury if Herbert is not able to play. Nope. Okay. So yeah, again, we don't have an update, but again, maybe we'll get something, prior to the end of the telecast today. Elsewhere in PHFL news, San Francisco and Seattle are about to kick off shortly. The Browns 38-35. The Detroit Lions. This was a good game as far as ranking is concerned, and as far as again, two coaches that right now are fighting for playoff positions. The Detroit Lions put up over 700 yards of offense. Again, maybe just kind of pick and choose, who they want to fight. Threw the ball 67 times. Hendon Hooker 43 for 67 with 727, 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, as they knocked off the Jaguars 59-31. I don't think you're going to throw 67 times on most of the coaches in here without probably taking an L with a lot of turnovers. But again, we'll save that discussion, for another telecast. Miami and the Raiders are upcoming. Again, the Ravens knocked off the Steelers 35-30. And again, this is the shocker of the weekend. The Buffalo Bills with Coach Yales destroyed, and we said it again. We, during the last week's segment, we said that we may be a high-scoring game, that the Chiefs are going to win. However, we did say that it's going to be tough for the Chiefs to contain Josh Allen, and they didn't. The only team that believed, or the only coach that believed in the Bills, was Coach Shifty and Coach Yales. This was a thorough beating. Again, 10, count them, 10, unos, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, diez. Again, 10 interceptions by Patrick Mahomes. This literally ends his MVP race. 25 for 47, 495 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Josh Allen right now may be your MVP favorite. We got to definitely take a look at that and do another MVP side-by-side comparison. 30 for 38, 513 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 1 interception. I mean, he was literally dealing against the Chiefs. Isaiah Bond, the speedster, 9 receptions, 152. Dalton Kincaid, 5 for 118. Ja'Cory Brooks, 6 for 9. I mean, just spreading the love out. And again, looking at it from a defensive perspective, again, Ja'Cory Bennett, 3 interceptions. Christian Benford, 2 interceptions. Kelvin Joseph, Milano got into it. Maxwell Harrison had 3. I mean, everybody was getting, interceptions in this game. And again, this was arguably the most surprising result. Again, from week 11, because again, you probably kind of predicted that this would go back and forth, that the Chiefs just have, enough. And one of the things that, even the coach said, in the, during the pregame, that, they have a new offense, especially with their explosion against the Denver Broncos. They have a new offense, and, they are, looking to continue with their, upward trajectory, upward momentum as far as an offense is concerned. And it just ran into a buzzsaw with the Buffalo Bills. So week number 11 is close to being in the books. Looking at the playoff hunt right now, the Eagles are holding on to the 7th seed at 6-3. You got Minnesota right on their heels at 5-4. The Giants will move to 6-5 on the season, so they're going to be right on their heels.
as well. Actually, the Giants have a bye week, so they're only 1 game or 1.5 games behind. So that 7 seed, and again, even looking at the top of the division, the home field right now, Dallas is 8-2, Carolina is 9-1, and Green Bay is 10-0. So looks like it may be kind of a 3-team race, maybe even a 2-team race between Green Bay and Carolina. But again, you definitely can't sleep on Atlanta at 9-2 and Detroit at 8-2. So you're talking about 2 wild cards that more than likely will have probably 13 or 14 wins. So if the playoffs ended today, or if the season ended today, you would have Carolina against Philly. You would have Dallas against Detroit, and Dallas defeated Detroit early in the season. And then you would have Seattle against Atlanta if the season ended today in the NFC. In the AFC, it's a 2-team race. Well, actually, no, Buffalo is still there. So the Jets are 9-1 for home field. The Chargers are 9-1. The Chiefs are still there at 8-2, and Buffalo is at 8-2. For the 7 seed, the Dolphins are 5-4. The Broncos are 5-6. The Raiders, again, that's a big matchup with the Raiders and the Dolphins. If the Raiders win, the Raiders will leapfrog the Dolphins for that 7 seed based off of a head-to-head. So again, and even the Browns are lurking there down at 4-6, so they still have a chance at that 7 seed. But again, if the playoffs ended today, you would have the Chargers versus the Dolphins, the Jaguars against the Chiefs, and you would have Baltimore against Buffalo. So again, plenty of football remaining, and looking at kind of our neon players of the week. Patrick Mahomes, 29 for 37, 546 for 9 touchdowns. Jamison Williamson against the Jags, 6 for 198 and 4 tubs. Malachi Starks, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble and a TD. And Budda Baker, 7 tackles, 1 interception, and 1 touchdown. So that, again, another jam-packed show. Again, to recap, definitely appreciate our fans for sending in videos of their favorite plays and their favorite highlights. Again, one of the fan highlight that we definitely want to make sure we take a look at is the interception in Baltimore. Again, great one-handed interception by, I believe that might have been Stevenson, if I'm not mistaken. Again, Burrow back to pass, 1:53 remaining in the game. Again, just a beautiful clicked on and snatched it one hand. Just a beautiful, beautiful interception by the Ravens. And again, we thank our fans for sending in, their choice of the PHFL play of the week. Our PHFL Elite 8 power rankings. The Jets now are back at the top of the hill at 9-1. The Packers again at 2-0 or 10-0. They're number 2. The Buffalo Bills are coming in again after their great win over the Chiefs, are coming in at number 3. The Chargers are 4th. The Carolina Panthers are 5. The Atlanta Falcons are 6. The Dallas Cowboys 7. The Detroit Lions are 8th. And again, dropping out of your PHFL Elite 8 is your Kansas City Chiefs. And then your PHFL hot seat this week, potential coaching carousel is your Denver Broncos and the old ball coach. We also tapped into our PHFL Super Bowl odds. The Buffalo Bills right now are the PHFL favorites to win it all at 2-1, followed by the New York Jets at 4-1. The Green Bay Packers are at 5-1. The LA Chargers are at 10-1. Just got word from the LA Chargers, the LA Gazette, that Justin Herbert is out 4 weeks. Wow, that is a big injury news. Again, we thank the Chargers staff. So real quick, let's look at who the Chargers face. They're going to have to run it with Trey Lance. And right now they're in contention for the number 1 seed. So they have the Ravens, oh man, the Falcons, the Chiefs, and the Bucks. Whew, that's a tough stretch without Justin Herbert. If I had to put a bet, they're going 1-3. 2-2 if they're lucky. 2-2 if they're lucky, but they're going. I just don't see them beating Atlanta and Kansas City without Justin Herbert. Tampa Bay and Baltimore is going to be a toss up, but if I had to, I'm going to say 1-3 for the Kansas City Chiefs without Justin Herbert. Wow, that's a big injury. That's definitely a big injury. So again, thank you so much for the LA Gazette, getting that real-time update with Justin Herbert's injury, out 4 weeks for your Los Angeles Chargers. Again, PHFL bowl odds, we talked about that. We may have to now, have to have we got to update this now because the Chargers, now again, you know what? No, we're going to keep it this way because again, this is right now with the teams fully healthy, but with Justin Herbert out and they have the Ravens, Atlanta, Kansas City, Tampa Bay upcoming, this literally could impact their Super Bowl odds. So again, we're definitely going to look at that, as we go along, in the season. PHFL, we talked about this from our fans. They asked the question, what's the best front four in the PHFL? And I think it was a consensus that it is the New York Giants with Abdul Carter being a superstar, Dexter Lawrence as an X factor, Brian Burns as a superstar, and Thibodeau as a star. That front four, man, your users should be impeccable on the back end because you shouldn't have a lot of time with those cats coming off the edges, and then Dexter Lawrence, again manning the middle of that front four. So again, that's definitely a formidable front four, and we definitely look forward to their development where they can start to put that talent on as far as stats is concerned. Because I think right now maybe the highest sack is 3.5 sacks, which again is definitely something that you need to look at, and from a X's and O's perspective, are they being allowed to hunt with that front four? And then finally, one of the additional questions that came in is, will the Green Bay Packers go undefeated? And looking at the Green Bay Packers remaining games, again, they do have a couple of tough games, upcoming. They have San Francisco. And again, if Coach Senna is locked in, they could easily, lose that game. Miami is arguably, again, as far as a offensive talent perspective, especially with the addition of Amon St. Brown, can definitely cause some challenges for the Packers. But I think right now, if you really were honest and say, okay, if there's a game that he's going to lose, if there's a game that the Packers, may fall short, what game would that be? And that's probably going to be that game against the Detroit Lions. Again, there's no love lost, between those two teams. The Detroit Lions have circled that game on their calendar, and they said, and I quote, "We're going to beat the dog s out of the Packers." And again, Coach Spot is arguably one of the most disrespected coaches in the PHFL, no matter how many wins that he adds up and racks up, no matter, what he does, it just seems like it doesn't appear that he's going to kind of get that love, that maybe other coaches get in the PHFL. So, again, we're going to definitely, take a look at, this as we, go along the season and see whether or not, from the betting perspective, whether or not that the Green Bay Packers can go undefeated. Again, if I had to give a guess, I'm probably going to say no, because again, it's tough to go undefeated in the PHFL, especially when you have a lot of animosity between coaches. So another great, fantastic week in the PHFL. We're going to try to make sure we get the show in sync with when the games, pretty much most of the games are played, so we can, again, have a little bit of synergy as far as doing the show in conjunction with the weeks being played, so that way we can advance to the next week, so everything can kind of, again, have some synergy with it. So this is your boy, the old ball coach, from our beautiful studios right outside of Washington, D.C., where it's 77 degrees and the skies are sunny and the clouds are cloudy. This is your boy, man. I'm out, man. Y'all have a good one.